Mr. Grable, let's get right into today's assignment. We're going to start these hall passes. So go to classwork. We're doing the 3D design and printing, and I'll just use my student account under Shippy's class. So I clicked this, and my nickname for this class is EG8007. That's me. And we're going to create a new design. We're on 3D design over here to the left, create new design. And first thing always is to properly name it. So I'm going to change it to hall pass, and I'll just do Shippy that to name my homework. So I'm going to just show you some of the basics of how to do a real basic hall pass. So I'm going to just use this block, and over here in the lower right hand corner, my grid is set up by millimeters. So I'm going to keep it at 1 millimeter. So each one of these little squares is 1 millimeter. And that's fine. And it'll just snap to these. So 20 millimeters from here to here. So I'm going to just stretch it out. And here we go. Now, I do think that this is a little too thick for a hall pass, so I'm going to thin it out, okay? Now, the hall pass, most likely the teacher is going to want to like hang it on something, like a little lanyard. So I can, I'll be fancy and I'll make a star. So I'm going to put this star, and right now you can see it's a solid shape. I actually want to punch a hole in my red rectangle there. So I can zoom around and I can see now this hole needs to go all the way through, and you can see it's not going all the way through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the star bigger, then I'm going to lower it. You see how it goes above and beyond. And that's way too big. So I'm going to grab the corner and change the size of it. And if you grab the corner and hold shift, it will keep all of its dimensions correctly. So I'll set it up like this. Let me, 1 second. All right, so we're back. Sorry, my daughter is asking me a question about her reading assignment. We can change it to the 2D perspective and see what 2D perspective, change it to the front. This is what it would look like right now, and this is what it would look like on top. Now, I haven't actually punched the hole yet, but I'm thinking that's where I want it. So I'm going to click on the star, which is a hole, and hold Control or it's Shift. Hold Shift, and now you see I have two objects. I'm going to group them together, and there's my hole. Now, this is from Ms. Shippy's class, so I'm going to want to insert some text. So I'm going to drag this text over, and I'll just use it up at this workplace, and I want, whoops, I deleted it by mistake. I want to change this text to Shippy. Let's capitalize the S. And you only have a couple of different fonts. So I'll go with this one. I'm going to change the color just so it's easier for everybody to see. I'll change it to this green. And if we actually print this off, it only matters the filament color inside the 3D printer. So there we go. Now this is too big. It doesn't fit on my hall pass. So I can resize it for it to fit. And okay. Whoops. So let's move this Shippy. Use my arrow key. All right. And not quite. Okay. Now I'm in this 2D, and I want to see the height of this letter of this word to see if it actually fits, like if it's on top. So I'm going to go change my view, and you can see. Let me zoom in a little bit. You can see that it's sitting on top, and I'm gonna just see what happens. So you can see how Shippy, that's how thick those letters are. Now, I don't need it that thick, so I'm going to shorten it, let's say to 5. Now I do want some of this to go into the rectangle, that red block. So you can actually see that dotted line. So it's sunk down in, which is good. And I don't want it too high off um, the block. Okay, so that's in there, and it's not going to come off very easily. Like it's built into it. And let's see, I want to add a room number. That way, when somebody leaves it, they know where to take it from Miss Shippy. So we'll add a text again. So we'll add the text here, and I'll change this to yellow, and I'm actually going to show you how to do like an engraving into it. So we're going to make this a hole, and we're going to do room, and Miss Shippy's room is, let me go back, I had it written down. Miss Shippy's room is 419. Okay, so I'm going to do 419. I'll keep the same font, and this is way too big of text, so I'm going to make it considerably smaller, and I'm not super concerned about keeping the scale. Okay, so we'll do it. Let's do it right there. And right now, I'm guessing it's going to look like it's going to go all the way through. You see that? I don't want it to go all the way through. I only want it to be an indent. So you can see the bottom is right here, and it looks about halfway, and that's okay for now. And I'm going to go back. I'll do home. Going to grab everything, and I have 3 shapes. I'm going to group them all together, and look, now you can see how it's all one solid color. You can see that the room 419 is kind of set down inside. And that's what I wanted. Now, if you made a mistake and you want to ungroup them, you can just click on it and ungroup it, and it will ungroup everything again for you. I do want to show you one thing that kids sometimes do when it comes to punching a hole with shapes. So we'll take this 419. I'm going to make it a little bit taller, and then I'm going to make it go all the way through. I'll go ahead and click room 419, and I'll click the red rectangle, and I'll group them together. And it punches this hole. Now, right here, let me change my perspective to top view. Now, when I look, change my perspective, top view. I want to zoom in. Now, when I look here at this 9, this center part, that like oval shape, isn't connected to anything. So when I actually print it off, this piece right here is not going to show up. It'll just fall off because it's not connected to anything. So you have to be mindful of when it actually prints, there's nothing for that to connect to. So it would just, when we took it off the 3D printer, it would just be empty. I want to show you one last thing, and I'm going to go back because I want my room 419 to being just engraved, not all the way punched through. So I'm going to ungroup these because I want to show you how to use this align tool. So I want Shippy and 419. So these 2 shapes, I want to line them up. And actually I'll use, let me go back here a second. So I press escape, rectangle, Shippy, 419. I have 3 shapes, and I want to align them. So when I align them, you see these black options, these black circles. This is telling me how I want to align them. And I want them to be all aligned over here to the right. So I click here, and look, there it is. I want them all aligned up to the top. I click that, and it stacks them, right? That's not what I wanted. So I'll just undo it. And I can align all these different shapes using this align button. So this is really nice. That way you can keep everything lined up. I actually don't like this for room 419. I kind of like it in the center, so I'm going to go ahead and align it, and then it actually allows me to line it up. Whoops. It allows me to align it right here in the middle. So now it's perfectly lined up, and We're good. Look at that. See that Y right there? I want to move it over just a little bit. And I want Shippy in the rectangle to be lined up. So I click both of them, shift and click, and I want to align it. And it looks like here. Yeah. So now it's exactly in the center. So this align will get things exactly how you want. So this would be like Shippy's hall pass. It's kind of generic. And the next lesson we'll start to modify it to add a little bit more character to it. And you can use any of these shapes off to the side to start with your hall pass. All right, I think that more than covers kind of the basics of how to get started with a hall pass. All right, bye.